Okay, we get to go through section 9.3 together from the PowerPoint as if you were in class with us. If you recall, I talked about the protractor and I talked about the 4 different kinds of angles we have: acute, obtuse, right, and straight. This is clearly an acute angle because it is less than 90 degrees. We can call this angle S. So we can say they called it angle RSW. We can also call it angle R, or we can call it angle WSR. We can call it all those different kinds of angles as long as we put the vertex in the center. It's fine, and there's only one angle, so we can call it by one letter. When we look at this protractor, remember we have to go with 0. So if you're like, I don't know which one to use, obviously you're going to use the numbers that start at 0 and go 10, 20, 30. You're not going to count backwards and do 170, 160, 150, 140. So you're going to go 10, 20, 30, 42 degrees. So it's best to say that the measurement, and we use the lowercase m, of angle S is equal to 42, and then don't forget that degree sign. You don't have to make it that big, but don't forget that. So that's how you measure that angle, using a protractor. And that goes through the process with you, and then we can do it again. But this time there's multitude of angles. There's angle GUM, angle SUM, and angle BUG. So first let's look at angle GUM. So the first thing you want to do when you look at these angles is identify it as acute, obtuse, right, or straight. So here is G to U to M. If you look at it, it's greater than 90 degrees, because think about the line for 90 degrees would be right here. So if it's greater than 90 degrees, we can call that an obtuse angle. Here's angle SUM. We know when we measure that one, it's going to be acute because it's less than 90 degrees, and here's BUG. That 2 would be acute because, again, think about your 90 degree line, which would be right here, and that's less than 90 degrees. So when we put a protractor on, notice this is going to be right at that center point. And let's first focus on angle GUM. Again, starting at the base here and going around, not using these because we're not going to count backwards, but going all the way around. We can see the measurement of angle GUM as being 120 degrees. If you weren't sure and you called it 60 degrees, well, you know that's wrong because you already identified it as an obtuse angle. And if it's obtuse, then it is greater than 90 degrees, so there's no way it could have been 60 degrees. And here's angle SUM right here, acute angle. Again, starting at 0, 10, 20, looks like it's about 32 degrees for that one. So this one's 32 degrees. This one was 120 degrees. And look, see if you can look at bug and see if you can figure that one out. We said also that one was less than 90 degrees, so there's no way it could be 120. BUG right here starts here and goes around, and it would be 60 degrees. So we have 2 acute angles and 1 obtuse. So there's your GUM, there's your SUM, and there's your bug. Okay? First, identify that angle. Yes, you would say it's acute. Then you would get your protractor, lay it on there, and determine that approximately how many degrees it was. You don't want to approximate, actually, you want to get an actual when you're measuring degrees. Imagine if a builder was building something and they were off slightly on their degrees. Let's say they were putting a window in and they were slightly off. It wasn't 90 degrees, it was 88 degrees or even 89 degrees. You're probably going to have some air coming in that window. So it's really important to be precise when you're doing your measurements. And that one would be 75 degrees. And the same process here, put that protractor on, angle FDE right here. Looks like it's acute. And you can clearly see that it's greater than 30 degrees. It looks like it's about 37 degrees. Then GDE, G to D to E. That's your obtuse angle. Go all the way around. It looks like it's about 118 degrees. FDG right here, FDG. FDG is different. So if this wasn't on the screen and it was on a piece of paper, I would take my protractor and I would turn it so that this bottom line right here lined up on this line, but it didn't do that for us. So we have to count, so remember, starting at 0. So it looks like I would start right here and then know that you needed to add 3 in right there, but you could go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and then look at how many slashes you have here and not forget to add 3 into it. So it looks like you would have your degrees from that. When you're drawing an angle, the first thing I want you to do is draw your ray like we discussed, label your point, and then think about what kind of angle you're making right here. You're making a 145-degree angle, so an obtuse angle. So think about where 90 degrees would be right here, going up. So if this is 90 degrees, I know that it's going to be greater than that. So I'm going to put my protractor down. I'm going to find 145 degrees. So I'm going to go all the way around to right here. I would put like a little mark right here. I would move my protractor off, turn it, and then draw my straight line. Now, if you say to yourself, well, wait a minute, how do I know it's not this 145 degrees? Well, because if you connected it over there, you would have created an acute angle and not an obtuse angle. So it's really important that you identify that angle before you actually start to draw it. And there's your obtuse. 47 degrees angle, what kind of angle would that be? Acute. So first I'm going to draw my ray, then I would put my protractor on it, mark my 47 degrees, and draw my line. So that's how you draw your angles. These we can go quickly on because you're all familiar with acute less than 90, obtuse is greater than 90, right is equal to 90, and straight is 180 degrees. So this one would be acute, straight, 180 degrees, obtuse, greater than 90, A is right, B is obtuse, greater than 90, straight, 180 degrees, and then they got really tricky on you here. It may look like a 90-degree angle, but it's not. Remember, don't go by the visual, go by either using a protractor or what they tell you. In this case, it says 95, so you know it's greater than 90, it has to be obtuse. Oh, that one's tricky. Acute. And that's the end of 9.3. Very easy.